What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we put the real in reality or whatever, period. I'm your host, Pharaoh, and we're joined by the wonderful Gwendolyn Rivers, aka the Midwest Heartthrob. What?
That's
What's
me.
up, Quinn?
Reminds me, Quinn Martin, Quinn 2.5 Quinn, Quinn Stefani. There's a million and one nicknames for me, but you can call me Quinn. It's fine.
What's up, Quinn? How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm in the mean streets of Lawton, Oklahoma, just taking in that Oklahoma air. And everyone's going to assume that this is my room. This is, funny enough, my brother's room. So he's such a fan. He's got all these bugs up, even though I'm the one that drives the Beatles. But
No,
yeah.
it's a cool room. Look, it's fine. It's cool. I like it.
Oh,
All right, Quinn, I have some questions for you. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of nervous. How are you feeling?
I'm shaking with anxiety. I literally brought my moon water from in the house to soothe my feelings. You know, I'm channeling some Lisa right now. I'm ready to go. This is going to be great.
All right, let's start it off. First, I want to ask you, how does it feel coming out of the house, out of the jury house, into the real world? You're back with your family. You're seeing all the people on Twitter. What is it like? I'd assume overwhelming, but I don't know.
Has been the greatest experience. Going to like all the meet and greets for Tucker's 4 birthday parties has been fantastic. I love attention. And so when people are approaching me wanting to take pictures, I'm like, thank God you don't hate me. And then all my friends and family has been such a like wonderful experience. The second I landed in OKC, I drove to my college's homecoming 6 hours away. And so I got to see all my friends from college, take pictures with fans there that went to my school. Yeah, the reception has been wonderful. Twitter specifically has been such a like healing spot for me. And I've been curating that timeline for a minute now. And
I was going to say that was crazy. Twitter's usually people's least favorite.
It's so hilarious, but like I can take it. It was disappointing knowing that when I was in the house, I couldn't help my friends my friend that was running the social media. I knew my family could see all the hate, and that's what kind of hurt. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
That's such an unpopular opinion, the Twitter thing, because so many people I feel from Big Brother specifically, they come home, they go to Twitter and they're like, fuck, I hate it here. Everyone's so mean. So it's surprising hearing you say that.
Oh yeah, I've got my non-binary ghouls for Quinn, lesbians for Quinn, and this is the official announcement. I called them out in Cameo, but we're welcoming in the bisexuals for Quinn. It's honestly been the homecoming of excellency and acceptance, and I feel very lucky to have such a great fan base. The Quinians were the best.
Period. Okay, that's great. Wait, but this is my thing. You're like a super heavy advocate for different sexualities, different gender associations. No, I'm kidding. But a lot of different marginalized groups. Where does that come from? Because even preseason, I remember I'm like doing investigation because I'm pansexual. So I'm like, who are the people out there? Who's the gays? So I'm doing my investigation, and I saw a Facebook post from you, and you were on some, trans rights matter or something like that. And I was like, period. Either this is like a super cool ally or this is someone who's a part of the community. So that was very interesting to see. But like, have you always been like that way, or what would you say?
For starters, I believe in trans rights and wrongs. Okay, they can do whatever they want, and I'm going to co-sign it. Right? Do crime, I'm here for it. But seriously, I think that like growing up in the Midwest, everyone has their own flavor of like internalized misogyny, internalized homophobia, even like exterior, like middle school was crazy. And so I'm someone who like wants to be better, and every single day, like starting in high school, I know that my friends started coming out and things like that. And where the foot really hit the gas, where I was really interested in advocating, was once I got to college. A lot of my friends do fall within the alphabet mafia, and so that to me, it just made it that much more personal. I know that my younger sister is a powerful gay woman out there killing it. Huge fan of her. And so, yeah, it's like the more I got to know different types of people, the more personal it became for me to stand up for them, because I've got a big mouth, and sometimes people, if they speak up for their own rights, can find themselves in dangerous situations. And I'm not scared of that. And I think that, like, being an ally, it's my responsibility to provide a warm and accepting place and just be there for others, really.
That is so sweet. I genuinely appreciate that. That's super awesome. Okay, let's talk about Big Brother. So, when did you get into Big Brother? Why did you get into Big Brother? Why did you decide to go on Big Brother? Where did that start?
So, I'm a military brat, moved around a whole bunch, and I had not heard about Big Brother until I moved back to America in like 2008. And my brother is a huge Survivor fan, so we always watch Survivor. His favorite player back in the day was Bob with the bow tie.
Mhm.
I was an Eric Reichenbach guy, but what drew me to Big Brother was like it was the louder, more obnoxious one of the two, and I feel like that aligned with me and my brother. He's a little bit more serious and like,
Mhm.
you're out in the jungle surviving, and then I'm the one that's like, there's a lot of maple syrup everywhere and fart noises. So that
Mhm.
to me stood out. And then it was like Big Brother 11 is where my start with this
Me
show.
too. Twinsies.
Yeah.
So
Oh my,
fun.
we were there and we were watching the same team. Um, and then season 12 is what sold it. I was in love with Brittany. She's so funny. The brigade, like Enzo, the meow meow is
Mhm.
hilarious. And as a kid, I was like, I just want a group of boys like that. I just want a squad to accept me. So I think that that's where it started. And this might be like really naive and just like dumb. I just assumed I'd get on the show. I was like, yeah, I'll probably apply for it someday. And
Mhm.
it wasn't until I saw Turner had a podcast with like Pooch for 20 minutes,
Mhm.
and they shared how to get on reality TV, and they shared like Pooch's video. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is like something I can actually do. Like, this is super possible all of a sudden. So I was looked around, found myself in a really annoying like job situation. I was a business development representative, and I said, screw this. I'm going to go chase the stars, try to
Yeah.
something for myself. And that's what kind of pushed me to applying, where it was like, wait, you can follow your dreams. You should probably do that instead of, lining the pockets of another millionaire.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. I really appreciate that story. I feel like that's so interesting to hear, like how people decide to apply, because even that part of the stage, it's still like a game in a way. So it's cool to hear that. So speaking of your game, let's hop into it. That's the fun part. Let's hop into it. So we started off the season, and very quickly, day one, we saw that you won the what the fuck was that power called? God damn.
The deep fake AI.
The deep fake HOH from
Yeah.
Ainsley, and you won it. And immediately I was like, me and my friend were like, oh, okay, thank God it was Quinn and not someone like Mackenzie who's probably gonna just run the alliance and da 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 da. And then you got it, and I was like, damn, did he need to get it? Because there was a lot going on. You were telling a lot of people, and I don't know what was going through your mind, I guess, when you got this like huge, damn near coup d'etat type of power, and that was how you started your game off.
So first of all, won the first comp.
Yeah.
Comp beast. Playing him. Leah didn't stand a chance. All right. Night Vision Peters, the lights are on and Quinn's winning. All right. I was pulling
Oh.
out those plugs. And I felt so incredibly insecure for those first couple of days. Like, I was surrounded by the most beautiful people imaginable. Everyone was so social. I could tell that they were smart. And then they're freak athletes. Like, I was looking at Cowboy Ken, Matt. I was like, where'd they find this guy? This is ridiculous. And so, adding on top of all that, I'm a have not. So I am
Mhm.
like fully aware that I didn't get to go into the room that I wanted to go into, which was the rock room, because that's like the most optimal, whatever, according to the online community. And I just can hear everyone else having a great time downstairs. I'm imagining them having like pillow fights, just loving life, building friendships, eating s'mores. Meanwhile, I'm with these like guys who keep farting the whole time, and it just
Mhm.
smells terrible up there. And so I felt so insecure that then when Angela wins the first HOH, she is the most well-liked person in the house.
Mhm.
Like, no one's touching her. And so when she's talking to me and she's talking about how she doesn't want to create an alliance, but she wants there to be a majority, whatever, I recognize I'm the last person to be hearing about this, and I wasn't consulted at all. I must be at the bottom. And
Mhm.
so I was going to form a final two with the first HOH no matter what. Uh,
Mhm.
and I thought, Angela's the most well-liked person. We get along. I respect her as like a woman and not like as a mom. Like I don't need a mom. I have one. She's cool. And I told her that. And so to me, it made sense to give her the information with the power because I wanted to show her that I was someone that she could trust. And little did I know that she would be
That
wild.
she would be Angela.
Yeah, you could have given me 1,000 guesses and I would have never bet that she was the one that was going to start going crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's why I shared it is I wanted it to be like a concrete for my social interactions and just solidify something where it's like, look, you're the first HOH. Please don't put me up. Please don't put me up. Please. I can't do this. I'll cry every day for the rest of my life. And so it was a move of desperation, but I thought there was a strategic framework backing it.
Yeah. And I do agree. I think it is very important to like give information when needed. I don't even think that it was so extremely terrible that you were telling allies or people who you wanted to gain rapport with about your power. It was more so, other things. But you said something just now. You said that you were gonna like probably make a final two with the first HOH regardless. And I kind of wanted to ask, I wanted to ask anyways, what were your like strategies after you were in the house for like a week and you kind of felt out the things that were happening, the collective slightly forming, the pentagon slightly forming. What was your game plan at the beginning of the game when it came to, am I going to go with the visionaries? Am I going to go with the collective? Did you want to go with them all the way to the end? Did you want to cut the collective at jury early? Because it started to get, kind of muddied waters when it's like you didn't want Cedric to go, but it's like, did you want Cedric to go because you weren't working with the Pentagon? So at the beginning, when you were first realizing stuff happening, what was your game plan, you feel?
So going into the house, I wanted to align myself with people who were a bit more sentimental, those emotional players, because I wanted it as like the deeper we get into the game, the more difficult it would be for them to turn their back on me. And I think that I just overestimated my closeness with Chemo and T-Core. I really thought that by giving them the keys to the castle, sharing with them my entire game, letting them know that I am with the intentions of being a bit diabolical. I'm comfortable with lying to people's faces. I thought that by showing that, removing the mask and showing them who I am, I thought that that would show them this dude is down to clown. And I've recently found out that that kind of sketched them out. But
Right.
being a part of the core alliance that's then within a majority alliance, I'm a fan of the show. And I know that I'm chasing my own legacy. You can call it ego, but like I wanted to not just win, I wanted to win in a way that was exciting to watch. I think that that's a huge responsibility for people who go on the screen. I think that you should study and you should be interesting. And so I saw this majority alliance and I was like, what a snooze fest.
That's boring.
We're gonna just clock in and then all of a sudden it's jury and now I'm fighting for my life against these like incredible competitors. I don't think so. I'm going to like more closely align myself with T-Core and Chemo, who I felt like hadn't been getting the respect that they deserved. I wanted to share with them, like, I see your value. I know who you are. You are strategically sound. You can be an incredible player, and I believe in you. Let's do this together. And so then we have the underdogs forming, like whatever. And then Tucker flips on me. And then there goes Chemo and T-Core. And I'm like, what the heck? I did not want Cedric to go home. I was like, surely, because, we're talking about how we need to mount an attack. Like, we play the long game. And I wanted to be transparent so that when this eventually does get exposed, they're not caught off guard and like mad at me. And so I was sharing all these secrets just with the idea of like showing them I'm with us for the long haul. Let's work together. My disappointment with Cedric going home was that they left me out of the like, why would you not tell me so that even if I don't have a vote, I can have a more functional conversation with Nina and like Tucker. Instead, the majority alliance dissolves, which was my protection against the most dangerous competitor in probably the history, Big Brother, who has his death ray pointed at me. And then, so I'm like at the bottom of the Pentagon, but I'm also not included with the underdogs. And it's like, why did you do this to me? I wanted to have a strategic attack where I was even talking about we need to use Leah as a number. And for some reason, Leah can't be used as a number. Like, no way. It's just like, I
So
tried to mount an attack, but they went off without me.
So do you feel like, because I'm hearing what you're saying, and I think what you're saying is making a lot of sense, especially from like your perspective. Do
Mhm.
you feel like maybe you went into the game a little bit, too dead set on your perspective? Even the concept of, I was definitely going to make a final two with the first HOH. I wanted to work with emotional people. You did a lot of the things you said you were going to do, but a lot of the times when I hear other Big Brother players talk, they're like, I had an idea and I got in there. I took the what's it called, temperature of the house and what was going on in the house, and then I kind of adjusted and I didn't do exactly what I wanted to do. Do you feel like you might have been too structured in the way that you wanted to play, especially at the beginning, to where it kind of might have, drew your attention to one direction that didn't need to go? Or I don't know, do you still stand by going in and achieving what you wanted to achieve, or do you wish you would have been more malleable, I guess?
I think malleable is definitely the goal. I also, this is very cocky, but I knew that I had the soft skills to kind of get through whatever happened. So
Okay.
like as I'm forming like all these final twos, at the back of my head, I'm like, you are playing with fire, but who
Mhm.
cares? This is like cool TV, and you should try to do something and see if you can balance all the plates. I think that going into the game with a plan and then sticking with it, I I guess maybe I shouldn't have assumed that everyone would be automatically on my same wavelength. I thought that we were all like coming from the same place of there's a logic to the game. You should follow the flow and then
Mhm.
capitalize on opportunities while maintaining, transparency with your allies while still being conniving towards your enemies. I think that you're definitely onto something where I should have been more malleable and just been like, you know what, throw it all out the window. Let me just be a friend to everyone, connect
Okay.
with them, and then wait for these alliances to form more naturally instead of seeking them out as aggressively as I did.
Yeah, that's fair. And I kind of want to talk about like T-Core and Chemo with the Visionaries. Because you also said that you weren't expecting them to be sketched out, when you took that approach. And it's so funny because when I was like talking about you that week and I'm doing my little ratings, I was like, my first thing I told the co-host that I was co-hosting with, I was like, if I was T-Core and Chemo and he just told me he was in this core alliance and he's exposing it to me, I would feel sketched out. So I'm wondering, do they feel sketched out? And at the time, they didn't talk a lot, So we didn't really know, but immediately I was thinking they might feel sketched out. So it's interesting, the different perspectives of that and kind of the way they were thinking. When did you feel like you realized that they were feeling some type of way about you? Because I remember even after they blindsided you with the Cedric thing, there were moments where it still seemed like you wanted to continue to try to build that relationship. When was it that you were like, I gotta go?
A lot of my perspective was like you shouldn't stay mad at people in the game. So even when they stabbed me in the back and they sent home my friend Cedric, and I was like really beaten up about it because he was, oh my god, my dog is freaking out. Excuse me.
You're all good. Don't worry about it.
Teddy, dude, come in, come in, come in, come in. You're so old. Oh my god. He's old. I'm so sorry. He's crying at the door.
You're
Um,
good.
yeah. And so my perspective was don't stay mad at people. Like always
Okay.
forgive. And that's something I carry in real life. Rehabilitation. You can always change, you can always be better. Um, and I thought that it would be never beneficial to be like so angry at people.
Mhm.
Sometimes it took me longer to forgive people like Angela and then Tucker. But the line in the sand was during Tucker's HOH when I put a name on my final two with Brooklyn, and they're
Mhm.
telling me to like shut up. Like they're telling me to like not play. And that was so deeply frustrating to me because I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. You want me to count on the like logic of like the most unpredictable player in the history of the game? And
Mhm.
they're mad at me because in their head, they're like, well, we know Brooklyn was a part of this 5 points alliance and all this stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, if you had shared with me about the 5 point alliance, I would not have put a name on it with Brooklyn because I would have been a little bit more skeptical of her that she didn't include me in those plans.
Mhm.
And so it was like that was a big piece. The story of Cedric's going home at the start, it was a game time decision, an emotional move. We just couldn't say Rubina's name. We just couldn't do it. And then
Mhm.
as time passed, it became more and more strategic. And now it's all of a sudden, yeah, we knew what was going on and whatever. And which I'm like, stick to your story. And
Mhm.
then the third thing was finding out about the tanks that then became 6th Avenue from T-Core. It was the fact that Chemo did not tell me about it, in conjunction with the Mackenzie vote,
Mhm.
where Tucker wants them to keep this secret from everyone, me, and they're not just outright saying that.
Mhm.
Those was all the things that came together where I'm like, you know what? I can't work with you guys because I'll never be a priority. I even thought I was naive enough to think that maybe they like Rabina more, but they still want to rock with me. But I just don't think that that's the case anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, and when it came to Chemo, the week that Cedric was HOH and he was going to go with this plan, and he kind of exposed to you and the rest of the Pentagon that Tucker had this plan. He wanted you up. He knows about all this stuff, and then he blows it up at the veto meeting. Why, or did you not know officially that it was Chemo who was exposing that at that moment? You still felt like it might have been Angela, or what was that?
It made sense to me that it would have been Angela because we were out in the yard and she's like talking
Oh
about
yeah.
like personal attacks and all this stuff. So I assumed that she told him, but then Chemo straight up walks up to me and goes, "Hey, just a heads up, Tucker asked me if you have an
Mhm.
upgrade in our final 2." And so I said, "Yeah, I didn't want to lie to him." I was like, "I understand, man. Do what's best for your game." In my
Mhm.
head, why are you telling the truth?
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
Help me, Chemo, please. Like, come on. I like couldn't believe it. And so I knew that he had I think at that point, I think that that's the timeline, is that he had told me about it,
Yeah.
and when he got exposed, I was like, "Yeesh, this sucks for Chemo," because at the time, I still cared about him in the game and wanted him to our, like, visionaries to succeed, and so I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, man, this puts us both in a bad spot," when
Mhm.
it was self-imposed. Why is he yapping like that? Keep a secret, brother, please.
Mhm. So, in hindsight, how do you feel about, the decision of the Pentagon versus the Visionaries? I know at the time it felt, right and cool, but in hindsight, I guess, do you think that your path with the Pentagon was just set in stone, you weren't going to make it, or do you feel like you were just doing that in the moment because you wanted to play Big Brother? Like, was it really I don't know, not even to be crazy, but like, do you think it was worth it to expose the Pentagon to the Visionaries when they kind of left you out for dust? No shade.
No, it's okay. I feel bad for a couple reasons, and the biggest one is that like snitching on the Pentagon cost Cedric and Brooklyn their games.
Hmm.
Brooklyn specifically because Cedric volunteered for the block, so
Yeah.
that's his decision. Brooklyn is someone who I believe would be good no matter what season she goes on. I think that she would be just a sick, nasty player with win equity, no matter what the circumstances are. And so to see her go out pre-jury really hurt my heart. And I even saying this out loud, I feel myself getting emotional. I'm just disappointed that like she played at the expense of my game where I wanted to be a dynamic showstopper that played a game worth remembering.
Hmm.
I said play to be remembered or risk being forgotten. So do I regret it? Absolutely. But at the same time, I thought the logic was there. I
Yeah.
was more closely, like on a personal level, aligned with Chemo and T-Core. We were going to be in the middle. We had the underdogs. Like we were keeping the focus off Tucker and Rubina. Like Kenny's going home, Angela's
Hmm.
going home, things like that. Mackenzie would go home before them. And then when the time was right, we would align with Joseph and Leah. And then we
Hmm.
flip on the Pentagon. And then my closeness with Brooklyn and Cedric in our final 2s, I think that that would put me like in a really good spot. I think the logic
Yeah.
is there. It just didn't play out that way. And so there's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda, but
Yeah.
I'm happy with the decisions I made. I'm disappointed with the outcome, but I did what I had to do.
Yeah, that's fair, and I mean, you did make a big splash in the season for sure, especially with like your rivalries. I don't know if you want to call them that, but
Yeah.
you had some tips with Angela, and it lasted for a long time. Like the issues with Angela, and then the issues kind of with Tucker. Why do you feel like you kept getting caught up in some stuff?
I
Like,
know.
what's going on?
It's so dumb. Tucker just identified me as the best player in the game,
He did.
which I'm like, bro, Chelsea's right there. Okay. It's not me. Are you drunk right now? And so he identifies me as this like Goliath in the game and he's watched the show before, as if Paramount Plus is expensive. And I'm just like, I think no matter what, he and I were going to go after each other just because of his perspective on the game of like taking out the big players. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that's irresponsible and doesn't focus on like the marathon that is Big Brother. That's like trying to play Survivor.
Yeah.
I just thought like, and then it was also egging on by the fact that I was able to compartmentalize it with him, and then we were able to go back and forth while still maintaining a genuine care for each other. It felt like I was enabling this relationship as he's attacking me, where I'm like, I shouldn't take this so well, but I don't think it's valuable to like get angry and cry. And I did get angry and cry at several points throughout our rivalry, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's kind of with that with Tucker. And then Angela and I were gonna butt heads anyway. I did not appreciate the way that she treated people in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I it felt is very interesting. It was two dynamics of two people trying to create TV moments. And I just thought Tucker was better at doing it. I was not super impressed with the like call out speeches from Angela. It felt very canned. Whereas like Tucker, I'm like, he's a theater guy. This
Yeah.
makes sense for me. He's a villain. Like I am obsessed with this. And so I think my frustration with her was like, can you at least do a better job? Like, can
Yeah.
we come on? But the thing with Angela is that her and I are like capable of just I would tell her all the time, we're up right now. We
Mm-hmm.
are so back. And that's kind of our dynamic where we would fight, fight, fight. And then I'd always be able to fix it and then
Mm-hmm.
fight again. And then I'd fix it, betray her trust. And it was just, it was, I said to Joseph that we should send her home because I was like, I don't think I can trick her any more times. And he was like,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
So okay, those issues with like specifically Tucker, it did cause a lot because after the Cedric blindside, you were already kind of taken aback in a bad position, and then Tucker wins the HOH, and then at that veto meeting, where he tells, well, there was a lot that went on that week because he was telling you this plan. You
Yeah,
kind of told about the plan, even though he said don't tell about the plan,
I
but he
know.
still used the veto. He still used it on you, and when I talked to Joseph yesterday, he says after this moment that you went up to him in the back room and was like, "Hey, bud, if I don't win this game, I want you to win this game. I don't feel like I'm gonna, be able to last." So I kind of want to know what was going through your mind at that low point in the game where everything you were building up kind of crashed down back to back in 2 weeks and you got exposed. And did you really feel like you didn't have a chance going forward? Or was that strategy, or what was your strategy?
I think that like on a personal level, I'm extremely optimistic. No matter what is going on around me, I'll laugh at it and just I'll yell about it and be like, "This is so stupid." But in the
Mhm.
back of my head, I always believe that I can get out of it.
Okay.
Whenever I would share with people, like, "Look, I know my days are numbered." It's like logically that makes sense, but I'm also trying to suss out like or like maybe garner sympathy, maybe something like that. But with Joseph, that was a very genuine, real moment where um, I know he's got his thick mustache on and his I don't care attitude, but I knew that he cared about that stuff more than anything.
Mhm.
And I know he's a tough guy and he'll deny it and he'll be like, no, I was fine. But I know that him getting called out hurt his feelings. And
Mhm.
so I just wanted to check on him and provide a real moment of like genuineness of just like, hey man, I really do love and appreciate you. And I always recognized him as a snake. I was like, you're gonna stab me in the back. In my head, like, and I knew what I was signing up for. I was like, I'm
Mhm.
obsessed with this dynamic where we're both dirt bags. But in that moment, I just looked at him and was just like, man, if I'm gonna go, I want you to succeed. And
Mhm.
that was a very real moment. It was just like, he's a cool guy, genuinely.
Mhm. What was your plan moving forward from that moment on? You just got called out by Tucker twice in a row. Cedric just went home. Your whole game's gone, and it doesn't seem like T Core and Chemo trust you. It was bad. Damn, it was real bad for you. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, especially as a super fan, you're in this dark hole. What are you thinking? Like, what are you thinking? Okay, game wise, I got to do this, or was it just like, fuck, I got to survive? You know?
I am the kind of person that when the light turns yellow, I don't pump the brakes. I hit the gas.
Mm-hmm.
And so in that moment, I'm like, I know I have soft skills. I know how to talk to people. Like interpersonal relationships are something that I'm very capable of like creating and endearing myself to others. And so my goal was to just pretend like it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
Just, man, I'm a punching bag. I'm Charlie Brown. Every time I try to kick the football, people move it out of the way. Jake from season 45 of Survivor, I would compare myself to him. I'm like, I'm trying. And it blows up in my face every single time. And I'm laughing at myself and I'm making it to where it's not in like awkward, feel bad for him. It's just like, man, Quinn's taking this really well. And
Yeah.
people find that endearing when you don't make your problem other problem. Like if you don't make your problem everyone else's problem, people kind of respect you for that. And so I wanted to lean on that. And I wanted to like give off this air of like, I might be shaken, but I'm not broken. And I just wanted to show my value to others and keep those relationships.
I feel like we did get to see that, and I feel like that was a helpful part of your game, especially in that moment. And now this is where I got a bone to pick. No shade, Quinn, because T-Core has her HOH. You know, you're still Rocky. Fuck all that. You win the next HOH, right? And Tucker just got blindsided. You guys conducted this big blindside with Tucker. It was you and like four other people. You, Chelsea, Mackenzie, Cam, and Leah were all a part of the plan to take out Tucker. And then the next week you win the HOH and everyone's outside and we're all like, okay, he could do anything, really. Like he's in this position where now it's like you were at the lowest point. And it seems like in Big Brother, there's a lot of the times where if you're in the worst position, as long as you can survive, you can become, you know, in this middle position, in this very, you know, optimal place where you can kind of mold your game. And that's kind of where you were at that moment. And we're like, he got to make the right decision. So let us all know, set the record straight. Why make the decision you did? You nominated Chemo, Rubina, and Angela. And you kind of targeted a little bit more that side than the side that just voted with you. And of course, simply thinking you can figure that out. But what were you thinking in the moment?
So my logic was we just sent home Tucker. And during that T-Core's HOH, Chemo revealed that like the main crux of why he wanted to send Mackenzie home was because on week 2, she said that she would hypothetically put him up because they don't talk game. That's a crazy reason to send someone home like weeks later. And I did not respect that. And so I recognize in that interaction, Chemo holds grudges. And so by sending his like bestie home, and like it's literally the night before, I'm like, they're worried about Tucker going home. And I'm like, well, if you're not having those conversations and you're not having those conversations, I'm not having those conversations, then he's probably good. And, you know, I'm going to send him home. And so I knew that he would take it extremely personal. And I felt like there was no avenue to work with that. And then in addition to that, Rubina couldn't win a comp. Chemo couldn't win a comp. And it felt like the other people can. I was like, Mackenzie's good at competitions. And she really endeared herself to me that week because I did not like the way that she was being treated. And so I thought it was going to be me, Leah, and Mackenzie. Like, I really thought that there was room to make that happen. And so I was like, I'm not putting Mackenzie up. Chelsea is the most well-insulated player in the game. And so if I were to put her on the block, she's going to stay. And then everyone's going after me next week. And then Cam's my boy. I love Cam. Okay. I'm probably the only Cam stan at that stage in the game. But that is my guy. And he deserves respect. And so I was like, I'm not putting him up. And I really felt like I could create something with this like unnamed 5 and fight it out. And I knew that Leah was good at competitions. I know that I'm good at physical competitions. She's really close with Mackenzie. I'm getting close with Mackenzie. Maybe we can figure something out. That was kind of the logic.
Why not name the 5 though? Because that was pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. I was watching every single HOH and I'm like, name the group, make the group, solidify the group. So why not make the 5 and name the 5 and lock it in, and kind of in a way you not force them because everyone can do what they want, but you push it in a way where they're like, shit, I probably shouldn't take out Quinn next week, you know? So why not name it?
Chelsea's aura, straight up. She didn't want to name it, and I did not want to poke that bear. I wanted to suck up to her. I wanted to be like a puppy getting on its back, being like, you can trust me. I'm vulnerable. Like and her and I had a really good personal connection. And so I thought, like, if I respected her wishes, that's why I didn't put T-Core on the block. I was like, I really don't want Chelsea to think that like I'm gonna make a move without her.
Yeah.
And then it
She
didn't.
had you like that, man. Like, okay, because I was gonna ask why not T Core, because that didn't make no sense to me. So it was mostly the rapport with like Chelsea, basically, is what you're saying.
Yes, and it was like not even like that she had me like that. I like it's very obvious when someone's talking to you and what they want from the situation. Like
Yeah.
Chelsea always says, like, what are the fruits of this conversation? And I see those same things in our interactions. But the truth was, she was just so well insulated. It's like, what, you're going to question her?
Mm-hmm.
That feels like a death wish. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just, she became this mob boss, badass diamond that, like, no matter where you look, it's beautiful. And I didn't want any smoke. I was like, okay, maybe we can figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
I also want the record to show putting Joseph on the block was not so crazy. You know, Dan put up Memphis in season 10, and
Mm-hmm.
Memphis sure was pissed, but it like separated them, made the house less upset with Dan, and then it
Mm-hmm.
was just like it worked. So all of a sudden it's a sick move. Me and Leah worked our butts off to keep Joseph. People
Mm-hmm.
were down. It's just a one in a lifetime speech comes from chemo and he's gone. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like that's the most disappointing part is like, was it an irresponsible move? Yes. But was it dumb? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'm not gonna pretend like it was smart, but I thought like I was like, this can work out for me. I just have to keep trying. And
Mm-hmm.
we did a good job. I unless I'm missing something,
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believe that like Leah and I did a good job to keep Joseph, who that week was wilding
Yeah.
socially.
But that's why I felt like it was crazy, because I get, that I understand that theory and that idea, but also like because of how wilding he was being crazy, like super crazy, telling people to their face they gotta go. That's why I was like, this is the most risky time to make a move like this. That's why I was so surprised. I was like, God, everyone hates Joseph right now. Like he's
And
going home,
I
you
thought
know?
that the source of it was, or I thought people's perspectives was that they weren't taking him seriously, or they
Okay.
were annoyed with him personally. But I knew that they didn't respect his game, and so
Mhm.
my thinking was like, why would you take a shot at the guy who can't win competition? He's throwing them potentially, or maybe
Mhm.
he's just losing them. Why would you take a shot at him when there's this very obvious power three? I
Yeah.
was like, this just makes too much sense. Like,
Mhm.
please. And the logic, they agreed. Everyone was down to clown. And then Chemo gives this lights out performance, phenom on the mic. And Joseph goes, and then I'm weeping in the pedal room.
And you know what? There was an interview I watched with Chelsea, and she was asked, and from your perspective, was it really the chemo speech? And Chelsea was like, I wanted Joseph to go regardless of the chemo speech, which is insane. And I know it's always like you got to take it with a grain of salt when it's after the fact, because it's like, maybe not, maybe so. But she did have a plan beforehand, and I think the real issue was Joseph told Chelsea to her face that she was the best player in the game other than him, and like that they were comparable. And I think the real issue probably in that moment was more so Chelsea knew who had to go, and he probably had to go. And it was just such a risk. But obviously we have like hindsight. We're seeing Chelsea talk. We're seeing Chelsea have her diary room after Joseph told her that and say, if Joseph's thinking that, he can go. So we're seeing Quinn, don't do it, and then you do it, and it's like shit. But honestly, from your perspective, I get from what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and it's like you're trying to set it up in a way where you can separate each other, not piss as many people off as possible, and move forward in the game. You know what I'm saying? So it makes sense.
And it was also an important like piece of this is that Leah did not start her one-on-ones with people until 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And so the room to like suss out what people would do and what they want was so shallow because
Yeah.
then during my one-on-one, I stayed up with her until like 7 in the morning. I walked her home, gave her a hug, and I was like, thank you for like hanging out with me. You're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Go to bed feeling like, I hope it works. There was no room to like try to suss out if like Joseph really, really, really was going to go home. And I think
Yeah.
if I had more time, this is me like looking at the stars and looking for an answer.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that was an
Yeah.
element of the decision too.
Yeah, and even then, everyone didn't want him to go home. Cam didn't even vote him out. So it's like it was a very particular situation, and I think you were going against the beast for sure. But also, like, do you feel like this move was like, I guess, the game losing move, for lack of better words? Or do you feel like it was before then that you had already, lost out on a little bit of the chances? I know you're optimistic. I'm optimistic too. You could have won at any point, but do you feel like this was one of the moves you regret, or how do you feel? Not regret, but
I definitely regret the move. Was that my game losing? I think that Chelsea wins, or maybe or not Cedric, Joseph wins the next week.
Mm-hmm.
He was locked in on the studying too for Ding Cam. Um, I honestly think that a lot of my win equity died when I got called out for having the upgrade. I
Okay.
also think that like my win equity, the format of this season, I couldn't figure it out. The people I wanted to get out were too capable of winning the AI arena. And then it's like, I don't know what to do. And so I
Yeah.
think that's something I really struggled. You mentioned being malleable earlier. I think that that was a shortcoming of my game, was I could not figure out how to navigate this format with 3 people on the block, with like providing a space for comp beasts to save themselves. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where I'm at.
That's fair. Okay, so before we move on to your week, I do want to ask a little bit about your relationship, like your game relationship with Leah. I mean, well, it doesn't have to be game, but your relationship with Leah, because that was a lot. Because especially from our perspective, just to let you know, we're
Mhm.
like, Leah is Allison Irwin in this bitch. Like, Leah is killing all of these dudes left and right. They're all falling for her. Cam did it, you did it, Joseph did. At a point we were like, dang, is Tucker falling for it? It was like a lot going on with the Leah situation. But with you, it was like, y'all stuck it out to the end. But after you got out of the season, do you know about the stuff she was saying now? Because there was some stuff she was saying.
I've heard that she said some stuff, and it's like I don't want to look at it.
Mhm.
Like you can share with it if you want, but it's like, wait, what do you mean? The bad
Because
stuff?
it's the more so within the game, because there were times where she was like literally pushing your name, or saying you should go, and she would like T-Core and Chemo would know this stuff and they wouldn't tell you, and we're like watching like, why are they not telling him? But they never told you. So even within the game relationship, she was super self-interested, I feel, at a lot of the points, and a lot of the times you were like really like trying to be in lockstep with her. But I feel like that was kind of the reason y'all weren't so in lockstep. But from your perspective, did you feel like y'all were in lockstep, or did you notice y'all weren't and you didn't know why or what?
It was an interesting dynamic. First of all, the Allison comparison is awesome because I'm also from Oklahoma, and so is Nate. He's from like the
That's funny.
rich, like snooty Edmond, but uh, I'm from Lawton. All right, hold it down,
Uh-huh.
shady 580. Um, so I love that comparison. I would hear back that she was like running my name through the mud,
Okay.
but it was funny because my reaction was like, Leah, stop. Everyone hates you now, because
Yeah.
people felt bad for me.
Okay.
And so I'm like, girl,
That's
stop
fair.
saying my name because it's putting you in a worse position. And I like
Mhm.
tell her, I'm like, dude, I'm like trying to hint at it. And she's like, I'm not throwing you under the bus. I'm like, I don't believe you. But
Mhm.
also, this is bad for you. Like, it would be so much better if we just fully teamed up and
Mhm.
took people out. But yeah, I really did want to work with her to stay in lockstep, all of that. Like, she's
Mhm.
great. And everyone like had their person. And it was like I had that relationship with Joseph, right, where I
Yeah.
felt really comfortable talking to him, but I knew that he was going to stab me in the back. And I knew that he had other things going on.
Mhm.
Chemo and T-Core had each other. Rubina had Chemo and T-Core.
Yep.
Uh, Chelsea had Cam and Mackenzie. Like, everyone had someone. And a lot of times, even though I was friends with people, I still felt like maybe not always the most appreciated. And I thought that Leah treated me with like a lot of kindness, like to my face, and was
Mhm.
always someone who like valued me. And so I think that that's also what kind of drew me towards her, was that she's someone who made me feel safe and understood.
Oh, that is so cute. Well, not, in a game way.
Yeah.
Um, so we get to the week and Chelsea wins the HOH. And you had just basically, protected her, did everything she wanted, like queen, please don't
So
touch me. So were you expecting what occurred to occur when Chelsea won the HOH initially?
I think in the diary room, I said that I need to win this power of veto just in case there's something sneaky going on.
Okay.
Not for me, but Leah,
Mhm.
because I knew that there was like a lot of contention between just a lot of people not giving Leah the respect that she deserved, but even like there's still like conflict there. And so I wanted to win that veto to help her. And then all of a sudden, I'm an option. And I'm like,
Mhm.
this is crazy. I saved you, and it was like wild because when I was telling Chelsea, I was like, this is not good for your game. Don't waste your HOH on me.
Mhm.
Like I would have, if I won the next HOH, I still would have doubled down with her. If I lost this HOH and then the next one, I'd probably target her. But
Mhm.
that's at that point the numbers are so shallow. I did not expect for me to be an option for Chelsea because I thought that all the logic was there of like I'm someone worth protecting because what's the alternative? Chemo, T-Core, and Rubina, they want nothing to do with me right now because
Mhm.
well, they say they do, but they're not winning competitions, and I'm not sure they're going to take a shot at Chelsea. So
Mhm.
they're going to put me up with Leah probably or target Cam and Mackenzie. Like it just it made sense for Chelsea to keep me. So I was shocked that she put me up.
Mhm. Do you feel like it was well, clearly she won unanimously, so maybe not a mistake, but do you feel like it was, a misstep in that because you were definitely going to, like, protect her, do you feel like maybe she should have targeted even Leah? I know you wouldn't have wanted her to, but do you feel like it would have made more sense for someone else to go in that week?
I think her targeting Leah would have made more sense.
Mhm.
Um, I think that like getting Angela out at that point is perfect for Chelsea though,
Yeah.
because Angela has nothing to lose. No power structure on this earth can like survive earthquake Angela. And so
Mhm.
it's like you should take out the person who's capable of winning HOHs and vetoes, who like has nothing to lose and doesn't care about your insulation.
Yeah.
Leah and I were smart enough to recognize how well protected Chelsea was. And so
Mhm.
I think that I think putting up Leah would have made more sense I think putting up Rubina would have made more sense, but um, she won and Rubina had her back anyway. So that was smart, actually. I shouldn't have said that. But
You're
um,
fine.
putting up Leah would have made sense between the two of us. But
Mhm.
at the same time, she says that she recognized that I had like win equity. And so if she's so comfortable that she can look at what's going on in front of her right now and
Mhm.
decide I'm going to make a move that's going to open the door to the win at the end, I can't help but respect that because she really
Mhm.
is so sick. And like, I know how smart she is. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's like, you know what? I'll be fine. I can survive it. Let's take out Quinn.
Yeah, I think you had more win equity than maybe you would have recognized at that point, at least. In my opinion, I did feel like you had a lot of potential to win if you did make it to the end, considering like whew, the story. Like there was a lot going on. So I do see that perspective. But also like I have this theory, and my theory is that in the game, it's easier to work with smarter players. No offense to Angela. Angela's not like a dumb player. She's just more erratic,
Mhm.
and players who are willing to like be like you and Leah and kind of like agree or conform, it's easier to play with. So it was always interesting to me that Chelsea kept players like Rubina and Angela, who was like, it was a little bit less predictable because they were a little bit less active. And I feel like that was a risk she always took.
Mhm.
And it paid off very big. And I think that's why now I kind of feel like her win is being considered in all of these, conversations because she took risks that it was like surprising. The average player would have been like, well, Quinn just obviously protected me. He's probably not going to take me out. Let me not take him out. But she was like, fuck it. He can go, which is
I'm so
crazy.
curious. Were Rubina and Chemo throwing comps?
Girl, no. And I they I don't think they were bad at comps. I think they were less, concerned, if that makes sense. I think it's like some people have like a energy when they get there, they're like, I gotta win and da 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 da. I think they
Yeah.
just didn't have that energy to it. So that's why they weren't winning as much.
I always wondered that because after I lose, I'm someone who wants to win more than I want to breathe. And so
Mhm.
I would lose the comp and I'm like, God dang it, this sucks. I look over and they're like, woo, this is great. I love it. Are you guys throwing this? And so then I was like, I was so convinced that they were like making these master plan deals to get me out. And I was like, why would Cam and Mackenzie believe these deals? I was convinced they were throwing comps. And I was like, they know that
That's funny.
and then apparently not.
That's so funny though. Wait, did you think Cam was throwing?
No, Cam kept placing really highly, and I knew
He
that
did.
he and I had a conversation about being competitive, and so I shared. I was like, I was a college soccer player, but the division that I played at is much lower. He was D1. Like that
Yeah.
is the best. And so I was like, how are you doing and stuff like that? And he's like, dude, I hate losing. And
Okay.
I believed him.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't think Cam was throwing it. I think that he really
Okay.
did want to win.
Okay, fair. He did, I think, still. So, you did end up getting backdoored this week. You fought hard, and then there was also moments where it's like, not that it didn't seem like you wanted to fight, it just seemed almost like not pointless. I don't know. How were you feeling when you were backdoored and you were trying to argue your case, you know?
So the first day of campaigning, I wanted to keep it really light. So that's me walking around like panhandling for votes. And it's just like reminding people, look, when Quinn is in a deeply uncomfortable situation and he should be sad and he should lash out at people, he's not. He's approaching
Mhm.
it with being funny, lighthearted, and he knows how to compartmentalize. And I thought that people would appreciate that in terms of like moving forward in the game. Look, he's willing to play and he's
Mhm.
not gonna take this personally. Then I start wheeling and dealing these deals with Chelsea,
Yep.
Mackenzie, Cam, and Leah, letting them know I'm gonna like volunteer to be the pawn
Mhm.
from here on out. Like I'm not scared of it, like at all. The logic being, well, once we get to the final six, we're all going to compete in the veto anyway.
Mhm.
So I don't care about being on the block. Screw it. And then I made a deal with Chelsea that if that when I win HOH, she can control the renom. And
Mhm.
I rechecked in with her and I was like, is that something that you feel comfortable like believing? And she said yes. I with those guys, it made sense for them to agree with these deals, especially the pawn thing, because it's not like I can back out of it.
Mhm.
Um, with Rubina and T-Core, I knew that they were not playing well, not T-Core. I knew that like I don't want to say that. I just knew that like there was nothing I could say to them would change their mind.
Yeah.
And that's why like my final pitch to them was just like a heartfelt like I'm pretty sure I know what's happening, and just in case, like this is how I feel about you genuinely.
Mhm.
In the back of my head, I was like, I'm being real sweet right now, and I'm telling you the truth.
Mhm.
I stay.
Mhm.
I know you're not going to be happy about it, and so that's what's funny about me being so sweet to you. But yeah,
Mhm.
with those two, it felt nothing.
Pointless.
Angela,
Yeah.
I was so dead. Shout out to Leah,
Yes.
greatest player of all time. She's so sick. She gets Angela, who a week and a half ago is like, I will never trust you in this game.
Mhm.
And then she finally settles. She goes, okay, Quinn, if you give your word in front of Leah, I'll vote for you to stay. I was like, okay. Oh no, that's crazy. Like, I don't care. I don't care what Leah thinks about me if I'm a liar in this game. I do not care. I will put her up as soon as it's convenient for me. Which, funny enough, if I'd won the next HOH, she probably would have just been a replacement nominee, if anything.
Mhm.
Targeted T-Core and Rubina extra hard. But yeah,
Mhm.
I with Angela, I knew that Leah had been doing that talking. And so I went to her and had the heartfelt conversation,
Mhm.
even if she doesn't want to carry out with the plan, she should know how I feel about her. Um, and then at the end, she's like, let's get down to brass tacks. And in my head, I was like, you're drunk for trusting me. Wild. But I was thankful. I got her vote. She never voted me out, and I never voted, or she never voted against me, and I never voted against
That's
her.
funny.
That's
That's
hilarious.
actually hilarious.
Yes.
I feel like your campaigning actually was pretty effective. Even with like Chelsea, there was times where she was like, she weighed all her options and stuff. So it was very interesting. I think what hurt you, which is so crazy to say, but I do think what hurt the most was the fact that there was the trio and Chelsea seemingly wanted to use them for as much as she could, like as a trio. So I think for her, even though there was things you were saying that she felt was beneficial, she was kind of like, I'd rather this trio protect me for a little longer and be this shield in front of me for a little longer. It's crazy what she did. You got to rewatch the season, I'm telling you.
I'm
So
excited.
so you do leave, you get to meet not Julie. Who did you meet? What was that man's name?
Gary O'Connell,
You was
Kangaroo
mad?
himself.
You was mad or you was happy? Be honest. He's not gonna listen.
I was just really excited because genuinely, this super obscure early 2000s movie called Kangaroo Jack is
Mhm.
my third favorite movie. And so when I saw him, I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is like a real celebrity that I would like be impressed to meet in real life. This is crazy.
That's
And then
funny.
I knew me and Julie were gonna hang out. We're best. We're like this. I'm
Period.
gonna start God 101, like for sure. We'll have time to talk. Let me get good with Jerry right now. I'm wearing his friendship bracelet right now.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, that's
Not Kangaroo Jack. He was the star in Kangaroo Jack. I seen Kangaroo Jack.
oh yeah, he's and then he was in this show called Sliders, and his character's name was Quinn. And like
That's funny.
my mom didn't watch the show super fat, but she heard the name Quinn and was like, "Oh, I like that name." So I thought that was
That's
cool.
cute. That's funny. Okay, so you do end up going to the jury house. You're now a jury vote. Do you yay 7-person juries or nay 7-person juries?
In the house, I really wanted it to be a 9-person jury because I felt like Tucker had made enough of like a statement that I know he probably wouldn't have liked being in that jury
Yeah.
house. I was losing my mind. They should have like flown out his dog Ziggy and given him like all the recreational items that he wanted, you know?
Mhm.
Um, like, because he would have been losing his marbles. So as
Mhm.
a player, I wanted it to be 9 people to give more people the chance to weigh their opinions.
Yeah.
But from a show standpoint, oh my gosh, I was in there for I think 31 days.
Mhm.
I was losing it. And I was like, imagine if I was Tucker in there for 45 days is
Mhm.
crazy. Like I would have started a friendship bracelet company and we would
That
have like
that
bought.
is super interesting that you were losing. Well, not interesting that you were losing it. That's sad, but it's interesting. I've never really I feel heard that. Why was it so much worse than the game, you feel?
Well, I was
Can't y'all
having
watch movies and shit? Y'all can't watch Netflix and
I
shit?
mean, the first week, I'm not even kidding. I just self-isolated and journaled. I have like 3 pages of content for every single house guest. I have 2 pages for every single HOH competition, every power veto. I was studying the days. I was daily journaling. Like I was just keeping to myself, processing the like experience of like losing my dream.
Mhm.
But I was still in good spirits. I just couldn't sleep until T-Core got there.
Okay.
And then the second she was under the same roof as me, I slept like a baby. It was like
It's cute.
just she's so like just having someone there that had gone through that.
Mhm.
And I still was in high spirits. It was the closer we got to my birthday and finale night,
Mhm.
and then it like really started. I was getting stir crazy. I was getting annoyed with Angela. I
Ooh.
was like, I can't do this. I was like, I was begging. I was like, can I just get in the trunk of your car and you drive around the city of LA just to so I can not
Jeez.
hear, please? Like I was going just nuts.
Mhm.
But luckily the people who work on that side of thing for like CBS, they are absolute professionals. They were
Mhm.
always so sweet to me and they made it very, very doable.
That's awesome. Do you feel like that's a shared sentiment with the jurors, like,
No,
perspective?
they were having a great time in there.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was part of my frustration is they're like, oh, thank God we don't have to be in that game anymore. And
That's
I'm sitting
funny.
there studying the days and I'm like, I want nothing more than there to be a game. I dream of telling more lies. I was like, if you just give me one more chance. I wanted to play so bad. And
Yeah.
everyone was like thankful for the break, which then made me a little bit more crazy. But yeah.
Mhm. So, in the jury house, we got a few jury segments. I wish we got so much more,
Mhm.
but in the jury segments, we got your perspective, and all the time we would hear you say, "Chelsea's playing the best game. She needs to win the game," etc., etc. And then we'd see kind of other people's perspective, being a little bit different, but like, were they? So I'm wondering, from your perspective, first of all, why did you so strongly feel that way about Chelsea at that moment? Like, was it after you left, you were like, she gotta win? Or was it like a day later? Or was it while you were still in the game? What made you so strongly feel that way?
In my head, while in the house, I was like, obviously, I want to win. But I would look at Chelsea and see someone who would be a fantastic representation for our season. And
Mhm,
so the second I got out of the house, I was like, if Leah's not going to win this game, I want it to be Chelsea. And
mhm,
so I was like, real I had just those 2 to hold on to, and I was like, "Please, please, please figure it out." Um, and yeah, it's just I knew that she had everything going for her. She just is so good in these competitions. She's
mhm.
good socially, strategically, she's one of the best. One of my favorite memories in the house was her and I sitting like by the pool pre-Pentagon explosion, and we're just strategizing. And I
Yeah.
like felt so cool just because I was next to her. Because I recognized I was like, yo, she's like Danielle Reyes. Like, 'cause she
Mhm.
was and the reason why I felt that is that she was able to roast people in the house, and she didn't have to put up an act. There was no
Mm-hmm.
facade. She was just keeping it real, and people loved it. And so I was like, Danielle had the same effect on people where she wasn't kissing ass. She was
Yep.
being herself, and that's what people loved. And so, oh my God, I knew she's one of the greatest players of all time, like in the house. So
Mm-hmm.
once my chances were crushed, I wanted to uplift her as much as possible.
That's fair. Do you feel like other jury members were more leaning towards that way as well? Because from our perspective, Angela and Leah didn't seem that way, but of course it could have been edited. Do you feel like they were actually leaning more towards like Mackenzie going into the finale, or no? Or you don't know?
I don't think so. Well, like Leah specific, I know for a fact Leah would vote for the best player no matter what, and
Okay.
she like loves Chelsea too.
Okay.
And so that's like an important note too of like she loves Mackenzie, she loves Chelsea. It would maybe be a difficult decision, but I know Leah is going to choose the most deserving player.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Angela was wilding. She wanted Chemo to win over everyone, and then she was like Rubina needs to win, and I'm like, where is this coming from? And she had no idea Mackenzie didn't like her. We
Yeah.
proposed to her in the jury house. It was like, we're like, girl, she doesn't like you, dude. What do you mean? And yeah, I don't know if it was an act or what, but she was 10 toes down. She didn't like Chelsea. Chelsea lied on her, all this crazy stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I know that Leah would have made a calculated decision no matter what.
Yeah.
She did.
That's very interesting. Okay, wait. One more question. Going into finale, y'all are still thinking Angela's wild and she's not voting Chelsea no matter what, or did y'all know going into the finale she had changed her mind after the round table and shit?
I don't know. The round table, I keep seeing tweets where they're like, Quinn ran it like the Navy. I did not get to talk about anything I wanted to speak on at all. It was just me.
Really?
Yeah, it was me putting out fires of like them talking about stuff that doesn't matter. And I'm like, I wanted to get into how Chelsea is like on this opposite side of the coin of Mackenzie, where at the start of the game, Mackenzie had everything going for her. She was in like a showmance and she's like very publicly athletic and people respect her in that way. And she has
Mm-hmm.
an upgrade. Meanwhile, Chelsea, like,
Had a downgrade.
yeah, she has a downgrade, and then it's like, being a minority in the game, like that's already a stacked deck against you. I probably
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have brought that up, but like, it was just like my respect for her, where it was like she had the deck stacked against her, and she still managed to like flip it, dominate. She joined the majority alliance without being able to vote. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she was just someone I really respected. I wanted to speak on all the intricacies of her game, like even her putting up Cam and Mackenzie instead of like Rubina.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to recognize how genius that was. I was blown away with how smart that is, and we never even acknowledged it, and we just kept moving forward. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, let's talk about the cool stuff. But yeah,
How do you
go ahead.
what were you saying?
I was gonna say I had an idea that I think Angela was just doing it for TV. I was like,
Oh,
she's
girl.
gonna make a smart decision. She's not gonna blow this.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. So Chelsea does win unanimously, which is great. How did you feel about her as a winner and representing your season altogether? I know you've talked about it here and there, but some of the girls on Twitter are like, "Man, I don't know," and then some of the girls are like, "I don't know if she's top 5" and stuff like this. What's your opinion? What do you think? You played with her; she ate you up a little bit. What's
No,
tea?
she did. She cooked. I think that I'm excited to see her edit in the show. I hope that she gets her full mastermind edit. Fingers crossed that's what happens. Literally, she's better than your faves. That's just the truth. Like,
Well,
you lock her in a house with any, like, you reshuffle the deck of any Big Brother season, you toss her in there, she's gonna find a way to the end, and she'll have an argument to win. She's just
mhm.
so capable. She's so intelligent. She's good at competitions, and she's someone who deserves like an ultimate amount of respect because there's nothing she can't do. She's fantastic.
That's. I'm gonna clip this and show this to her. Okay.
I'm so proud to say that she's our winner. Genuinely.
That's cool. That's super cool. Okay, so what are things that you want people, everyone else to know about your time in the house, about the way you played the game that you want to clarify, make clear, or just want them to know or just brag on, whatever you want to say about your experience and your time in the game.
It was truly oh my God. It
Oh,
was just the best experience I've ever had. I loved every second of it, and I was thankful to be a part of such an iconic season, even though, man, it sucked for me specifically. It really did suck. It felt like I had everything going against me. I know people hated me, and it doesn't matter because they love me now. And if they don't, they're blocked. So it doesn't matter. My Quinions, we're up right now. Okay. Shout out
Bro.
to all my friends and family that watched. I was so blown away to find out how many people were tuning into the live feeds. And I'm like, don't you guys have jobs? Go development.
No, we want to watch you. We want to watch you argue with Angela instead.
Yeah, it's worth it. Happens a lot. It was just truly the best experience ever. I don't know. It was just so much fun. I understand that I was messy, but at least give me the grace to say at least he tried to do something. I wanted to play big. How boring. When we all talk shit about them on Twitter, when people just go with the status quo and they're like, "Oh, I'm in a majority alliance." We all talk trash about that and it's like, "Oh, this is a boring season." And so yeah, I did like plant my flag and say I don't want to be a part of that even though it benefits me. I want to be a dynamic player. I want to play in a way that is in your face, a showstopper. Burn bright, die young is my motto. And so I get that it wasn't optimal. I'm not an idiot. Honestly, I probably know the game better than most Big Brother players. I'd probably say I'm in the top like 80% of like knowledge of the game and understanding of the strategy.
Mhm.
But it's like my own interest in providing exciting gameplay and TV. And like you guys can say I'm a flop, that's fine, but at least I tried.
Mhm.
That's the message I would want to share.
Period. And you were top 3 in AFP, which honestly, like I was not sure that I expected that because there were a lot of people who were, Tucker stands,
Mhm.
Angela stands. It was you guys all in the top 3 for the America's Favorite House Guest. So that's really cool. And you do have a lot of people who loved you, and it was really refreshing to see you play the game, even in times where like if I wasn't on the same side of what you were thinking or what you were going to do and I was sad about it, I was happy to be sad about you coming from my face. And I'm not a Tucker or Angela stan. They're wonderful people, probably. Well,
They are.
but but I'm a Cedric stan. And at the very first day, I was like, why is he saying my man's name? But it's all cool. And I look. Anyways, no matter what, even though you were coming from my faves at the beginning, I was like, damn, I love Quinn. Like, I love that Quinn's coming from my faves right now.
Oh my god.
And I feel like you did provide an experience that was made the season enjoyable. Like, one of the reasons that this season was good was because of you and the cast in general. This was a great ass cast. So I really do appreciate that. I really do.
Thank you so much. And I am so sorry about Cedric. I don't know if you saw me crying in there. I was apologizing to his
No,
mom.
you're good.
I was like, to Cedric's
His
mom.
mom is crazy.
I was like, I didn't want this. And I was like, I was in the DR because he's from Duncan, Oklahoma. I'm from Lima, Oklahoma. I was like, these other people don't get it. There's always California people. There's always Floridians. There's always New York people. I was like, his eyes are the only ones who have seen what my eyes have seen. It was so
That's
pathetic.
funny.
Oh my gosh. Cedric is the best. He's heart of gold. Oh my
That's
goodness.
awesome.
He's
No,
so
you're all good. I'm just joking. But
yeah.
so for all of the Quinions
Mhm.
and even other people, what if you were invited back and you played again? First of all, would you say yes? I'm assuming, or what are some other shows you might say yes to? What are some shows you might want to play if you would?
I would say yes in a heartbeat to playing Big Brother again. I don't care what the capacity is. I just want to be a part of it. This is my favorite show. And it means a lot to me. In terms of like other things I would check out, I don't think I have the skills to do the Amazing Race. Jerry O'Connell wants to play.
Really? You would eat that up.
I can drive stick shift. Maybe he can read a map, cartographer in his free time. I would love to do Survivor. I would need to get my friend Maya's blessings because they're like the Survivor stan of us. And I want them to compete. They would totally win. But if I got their seal of approval, I would totally play Survivor. It's only happened twice, so I doubt it would. But
Traitors.
I would love to do the traders just for the looks. I like to dress up. I love an
Period.
moment. And so I wouldn't even be trying to like figure out who the trader is. It's just me like looking at my reflection, be like, I'm so fly right now. It's probably, and then my guess for like the traders is, yeah, it's probably the most high profile person here.
Yeah.
It's Dan. He didn't come here to not be a trader.
Literally.
And then like other shows, I have no idea. Probably not a like Love Island or anything like that, or The Bachelor. Probably not. That's not me. It's too overwhelming.
I feel like people would love it. You just need your own show. You just need to, for the love of Quinn.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my goodness, I would love that.
Okay, so
I get one. I want you to be my first guest, if that's okay.
I got you.
Okay, thank goodness. We're so up right now. Let's go.
Why you got me giggling? Okay, so anyways, god damn it. So where can people see you in the future other than reality shows? Where can people find you? Do you want people to keep up with you? Girl, I heard you're not a girl. I'm sorry.
No,
I heard
stuff like that. That's fine.
maybe I heard wrong, but I thought I heard somewhere something about you liking podcasting, or what's tea on that? Where can people find you? What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So follow me on Instagram. I believe that we will Quinn, and then follow me on Twitter. Every now and Quinn.
Period.
And then yeah, I want to start like a podcast where, or I love talking about Big Brother, so I'd love to get into that nerdy side of the stuff. But I also want to get into Twitch streaming. Eventually, that's going to happen. I don't know. I think being podcasting would be fun. I have no idea. I love this community. I love the positive side of the community. Like there's a lot of like negative spaces. And I know that this is a positive channel. And that's like something that I would want to participate in. At no point do I want to like hyper analyze people in a way that's like putting them down, unless they do something problematic, obviously. But I just want to be a part of the community, and I want to be there to uplift the show.
How awesome. Oh my God. Round of applause for Quinn. Y'all can't clap. Well, I guess y'all can at your home. Snap and clap at your home. Yeah. Love you. Thank you so much for being here and joining us. Everyone follow him everywhere where he just said. Make sure you're keeping up with Quinn. Make sure you're keeping up with us. We are going to very soon do our Big Brother Rewind, where we go back, rewatch old seasons. We're on Big Brother 4 starting this November. So tune in with us for that. And thank you for keeping it real with the kingdom. Me and Quinn are out. Bye.
Peace out, Girl Scouts. Thank you so much.